And why won't it work? Let me start with why it won't work. I'll read two notes from the Wall Street Journal. So first, by packaging together all the content, the companies are hoping they can bring in enough sports first customers to make the economics work. Wells Fargo analyst Stephen Cahill projected, based on various assumptions, that the service could break even if around 6 million subscribers paid at least $40 a month. The companies are discussing a price that could approach $50 a month. People familiar with the situation said. So that's note number one. Note number two, the as yet unnamed service, expected to launch this fall, will carry 14 networks, including Disney's ESPN channels and its ABC network, Warner's TNT and TBS, and Fox's broadcast network and sports cable channel. The service will feature sports including the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college football and basketball, golf, and NASCAR. And to put the subscriber target in perspective, 6 million subscribers, enough to make this work. YouTube TV launched in 2017 and announced it had 8 million users as of last week, or they crossed the 8 million user threshold. But the second note is interesting to me because they're not going to have key football games. If you want to watch the football on CBS, you're going to need to have CBS access. If you want to watch Sunday Night Football, you need to have NBC and maybe Peacock down the line. If you want to watch Thursday Night Football, you need to have Amazon. They're not going to have all the sports, and that's going to be a problem. Like right now, they're trying to charge $45 a month for a product that only a diehard sports fan would want. But a diehard sports fan will still need to subscribe to several other services to watch every football game or watch every Premier League game or watch every game of a local NBA team, whatever it may be. You're not just sort of getting one service that's going to serve all your needs if you really care about sports. And that's before you factor in Netflix or Hulu or any traditional streaming service. It's like, the target audience for this product is the person who loves sports, and the person who loves sports and has enough disposable income to subscribe to this bundle is definitely already subscribed to cable or YouTube TV, which are going to end up netting out at about the same price when you factor in all the value they're getting. And so that's why I just don't know how big the target audience will end up being here.
Right, but what's wrong with that?
I mean, nothing. It's just not actually going to make much of a dent in the current landscape is my takeaway after thinking about it for a couple of days.
Right. But the point here, and this goes back to the issue of sort of costs and being, wanting to leverage your spend, is that at least as it's being mooted right now, it's not going to make a difference to ESPN or Fox or Warner Brothers if people subscribe via the cable bundle or via this service, or via each one sort of individually. The whole point is to meet people where they're at. If the answer is that they launched this service and a whole bunch of people who had cut the cord because they were waiting for this big bundle, they're like, you know what? I could spend $35 more a month to get YouTube TV and get all the sports and also get all the other crap that's on cable. I'm going to do that. Then from Disney or Fox perspective, it's like, great. That's actually better for us. We will make more money on cable. And so in that context, I think looking at this in isolation is saying this is dumb because cable's a better deal. If that is the message that is internalized by
honestly,
their audiences,
I was like, is this an elaborate guerrilla marketing tactic for the traditional cable bundle?
Maybe it is. Not the worst idea in the world.
Tremendous outcome. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, and just to clarify, for the sports thing, one of the issues and why everyone's mad at CBS and NBC is they're cheating on the cable bundle. You can get the NFL games on Paramount Plus or CBS Now, whatever it's called, and Peacock. Right, the Peacock one. The reason we talked about the Peacock playoff game was that was only on Peacock. It wasn't on TV at all. But you've been able. All the NBC games have been also streamed on Peacock. So you could, probably if you want to be super diligent about managing your costs and you're a hardcore sports fan, you subscribe to this year round, and then just during football season you add sort of the other two and then cancel them. And sorry for them, they're not part of the bundle. They get churned out every 6 months of people sort of coming and going. that's certainly a very viable thing to do. You could put up an antenna, right? Not saying that's going to be a huge market, but that would solve sort of your broadcast network problem.
YouTube videos that can help show you how to put up an antenna if you're a
well,
millennial like me. Yep.
One of the issues with the cable bundle bill in general is that a huge part of the cost, like $25, $30 or something, is the broadcast networks. Basically, they're charging what are called there's not affiliate fees, they're retransmission fees. And if you look at your cable bill, they usually separate this out because the cable companies are very irritated about these fees. And They want to make clear where the fees are coming from.
Us.
Yes, exactly. And so that's, a big chunk of this cost. We talked ESPN, but if ABC is on there and Fox is on there, that's a big chunk of cost that is pushing it up to that $50 mark or sort of whatever it might be. You can get around that cost with an antenna, right? And sort of honestly, that's probably going to be the most cost efficient way going forward. Get an antenna. By the way, you get a better broadcast signal. Like 4K is more likely to be over the antenna than it is going to be over cable.
I didn't know that.
One of the limitations of wires is they have to be upgraded over time. They aren't always. And then sort of get this for basically ESPN and FS1, which is, or a TNT, like the sort of the cable sports options. But backing up, big picture, my whole pushback to you is that's fine, right? Though the making stuff more available is I think a net win.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I just am making the point that in the wake of all the hubbub a week ago, the customer that some of these guys are imagining, whether it's Lachlan Murdoch talking about how there's a tremendous opportunity, not of people who are cutting the cord, but who have never had cable in the past or whatever. I just don't buy that person exists. Like the person who's not willing to pay for cable.
If your view of the world is, and you might be right, to be very, very clear, you might be right. But to the extent you are right, sports in America are screwed. Because what you're articulating is that there's a huge crowd of people that are never going to watch sports. And the bet these folks are making is that there's a lot of people that might be sports fans or would be sports fan. They're just cable nevers. They're not sports nevers. They're cable nevers. And you're saying that category does not exist. And you might be right. Again, from my perspective, as an old person, I think cable is better. Then again, a lot of old people thought newspapers were better. Like, why would I even bother? So to the extent there is a population that would like to get sports, but is never going to sign up for cable, this will meet that need. And if that market does not materialize at all, then everyone is sort of screwed. And by the way, that might be true. It might be the case that the new generation just wants to watch highlights and maybe catch the big game. And they're never going to be like you and me watching every sports game because we grew up in a world where we didn't have 5 gazillion options of different things to do. That might be the case. And everyone, it's kind of in the back of everyone's mind, a little bit nervous about it. They probably should be a lot nervous about it. But yeah, that's the market that's being targeted.